Hello, viewers. It is another discussion session from Pearls of Wisdom, an initiative to inspire academic excellence in young minds. My name is Saadat Oluwabukola Ogunbote, and you are welcome to Eyes of Africa TV. Today with me is a thoroughbred mathematician. He studied mathematics and computer science at NCE level and was the best graduating student of his sect. He graduated with a first class degree in mathematics education from the prestigious University of Lagos. He studied pure mathematics at master's level in the same university. He is the current holder of the Best Teacher in Lagos Award, Teacher of Vision Program, the classroom in your home. He will be discussing on the topic MathemaPhobia. Never underestimate the essence of your pen and jotter. Join me as I welcome my guest, Mr. Ibrahim Agbaje.
Thank
Mr.
you very much,
Ibrahim,
madam. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be
so
here.
we start. Okay, thank you. You're welcome, sir. I want to start
Thank
our
you very much.
discussion today with your nickname, the Math Magician. How did you come about that name? And why do you think people have phobia for mathematics?
Okay, thank you very much. I will begin with that nickname. It was something given to me by the students that I teach. I was posted to a new school some years ago, and made everything look so easy. And so they called me the a magician, and I said, "No, I'm not a magician. I'm a mathematician." So it was a boy that came up with that amalgamation, just joined everything together. Okay, instead of mathematician, you are indeed a mathematician. Well, it's not as if I'm doing anything special.
Mm,
I'm just doing what every math
okay.
teacher should do. Okay. So
Okay.
why people have a phobia for mathematics? Well, I guess it's easy to say that for everyone. Well, math is a very difficult subject. It's difficult. It's going to be people
Indeed.
who understand it are geniuses. They are out of this world. But on the real surface of it, if we look critically, we discover that math itself is a very simple subject. It's actually the easiest subject you can think of doing as a student. Okay, so why people have phobia
Phobia for
for
mathematics.
mathematics, I like to
Yeah.
relate it to why do children fear dogs? It's only when you see adults running from dogs. So the same with mathematics. The way the body language they are bombarded by ideology. They say mathematics. Why singular, especially math, they're going to be at fault. So this lesson by telling the children is very easy. Keep Okay, that one is, but that is not to say that everybody on the streets suffers from dyscalculia. No, a lot of people, the people that have MathemaPhobia, or which we call math, they have it. They can't do it. They cannot do it. So the result, they have that lack of confidence.
Oh, I guess
They
network is not so
have
friendly
that
today.
panic whenever they see mathematics.
Hmm.
They have paranoia. It's like looking is a bad. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mr.
Can you
Agbaje. Go
hear me?
on. I can hear you. Well, you're cutting off.
Okay, no
I think the reception is not so. The reception
problem.
is not so good there.
So let me see what I can do about that. Hello.
You're back on. Yes, yes, Mr. Agbaje.
Okay,
So you were
we're
trying
good
to
to go.
tell us why people have phobia for mathematics.
Yes, yes. I was
Please go
saying
on.
that
Yes.
it's it's a problem of mindset. Okay, so it's like
Mm,
seeing a language that is foreign, and you're just
mm,
learning the language and not taking your time to read through. It's like seeing something written in Arabic, for instance. If you do not understand the Arabic language, you automatically your mind tells you, "I can't read this. I cannot understand this," and that's what the mind of a person that has mathemaphobia tells him. The moment they see math, oh, this is a no-go area for me. I can't do it. And because they have convinced themselves that it's not possible, then we have a problem.
mm,
But to every problem,
mm,
there is always a solution. Okay, so as I was saying, I
mm,
said that mathematics is a journey that every teacher has to make. It is compulsory
mm,
they make it with their learners. And that is because the
mm.
problems of the world will only be solved with mathematics. Even if we don't want to solve the problem of the world, the problem of the society, immediate society, the problems of the home. It takes a lot of mathematics to solve. And now
Mm,
teachers have to go on that
mm,
journey with their learners. Now, where they are going is a place where the signposts have been written in another language.
mhm,
So the best thing to do is to learn the ABC of that language, and everybody will not have a problem. All they have to do is read the signposts and know where to go. But what most people end up doing is, okay, we have to go on this journey. The last time we went, we turned to the right, then we turned to the left, then we turned to the right. They have crammed the process. And so sometimes the signposts
mm,
can change and then they run into problem. Okay, a journey that should have been straightforward will now end up being a
mm.
maze, and something that's supposed to last like 5-10 minutes will now last several hours because we do not know the language of the game. Okay,
Oh, wow.
I
Oh,
believe I believe you
yeah.
can still hear me.
Yes, I can, Mr. Agbaje.
Okay,
So,
so
go on. I'm
I
listening.
would actually talk about the causes of mathemaphobia, as I was saying. It will not come from the kid itself most of the time, the children.
Hmm.
Usually it comes transferred onto the teachers, the parents, or
Okay.
perhaps the school
Hmm.
itself. The school itself.
Okay.
I'll take it from I've said something about the parents. The moment they tell the children, go to school, focus on your studies, especially mathematics, you've already created a world of fear. But
Hmm.
in the school itself, the teacher does a lot. In the process by which they
Hmm.
teach the mathematics itself, we have this, a lot of teachers have this one size fits all approach to mathematics. They introduce the topic, then they solve
Mhm.
example one, example two, and then
And
classwork,
that's
and that
it.
is the end of it. And that approach is a
Hmm.
very, very, very wrong approach. Okay, children are
Hmm.
never going to
Key.
understand mathematics
Key.
this way. Okay.
Hmm.
Another aspect of it is that, okay, so if children don't understand what they're doing, they just know that they're adding one and two together. Why are they adding one and two together? Okay, you tell children they have to find the simple interest. What exactly is the simple interest in layman terms? What is the principal? What is the rate? What is the time? Why do they need to know all this? They don't know. They just know that this is the way the teacher said we should do this. You know, Sometimes teachers will introduce a new topic and say, the topic for today is area. The formula for the topic is length times breadth, and then we go on. Children are never going to acquire any learning in this way. That is a problem from the teachers. Okay. Another one is the parents themselves. When children come home and they can't get understanding of what they're learning in school, parents are supposed to help out.
Hmm.
But the moment they meet mommy, mommy says, maths, no, go and meet your daddy. He's the maths expert. And daddy says, this one is too much for me. They are already telling the children, even for an adult, this thing is difficult. So the child
Hmm.
thinks, if it is difficult for an adult, how am I supposed to do well? Okay, it can't be done. That's the mindset. Okay, are we together? So then there is also
Yes,
that
we are. We're with you.
there's also that expectation at the end of the term when results
Hmm.
come. What did you score? Some children can do well in other subjects, but the moment they score 85 in English and they score 60 in mathematics, there is problem in the house. There was a video trending on the internet recently about a child that failed all subjects except music, and the father started ranting. Okay, maybe the father was justified, but that is not the way to approach the problem. Okay, so these are some of the causes of mathematics fear that people are. The teacher, they're a major culprit. The parents, they're a major
Hmm.
culprit. The school itself is a major culprit. I
Hmm.
mean, how much time is devoted to mathematics and how much time is
Hmm.
devoted to meaningful learning? A school recently called me to come and look at the how to raise the performance level of the children in mathematics. And I went there. The first thing I demanded for was the timetable. And my
Hmm.
idea was that I was going to tell them to put mathematics in the morning, allow some double periods during the week, and then speak to the teachers. But you know what I saw on the timetable got me shocked. The mathematics is something you do on a daily basis. On a daily
Hey,
basis.
yeah,
In the
definitely.
morning, best time in the morning. This school has mathematics on the timetable twice a week. At most,
Ooh.
3 times a week. And this is a school where parents pay a lot of money. Okay, so schools
Hmm.
sometimes can be the problem. And I asked them, why would you have
Hmm.
mathematics 2 times a week? They say we have to do this, we have to do that. You cannot put too many things into the minds of children. I mean, come on. There's
Hmm.
something there are certain level of things they're supposed to learn in primary school,
So
in secondary school. So you have
that's a
to create,
caution there.
yeah, you
That's
have
a
to
caution
put
there for school and the curriculum
for
and
school.
timetable setting for school owners.
Exactly. So
Okay.
maths has to be done every day, and there has to be enough time for
Time.
maths practice.
Hmm.
Then let's talk about
Hmm.
another angle where the schools get it wrong. Schools want to employ mathematics teachers, okay, perhaps due to a dearth of funds or money to pay teachers, they accept anybody that comes and say they can be trained on the job. But mathematics is not something you put somebody who's not a math specialist to go and do.
Hmm.
Go to a lot of these schools and see how they recruit teachers. They will pick a question from the past questions of their students and ask the teacher to solve. And when the teacher solves, what that simply means is that the teacher knows the topic or can answer the question. But does that mean he knows how to teach it? Okay. So these are some of the areas where we get it wrong. And how you would know that a lot of incompetent people are teaching mathematics. Let me give you an experience that I've been having. I sometimes help schools to recruit math teachers. And one basic question I always ask every math teacher, I must ask in every interview, is what is the difference between perimeter and area? And I must shock you. No teacher has been able to get that right. And usually I file my recommendation, do not employ this person. And I go away. And eventually the school will employ under the guise of they will be trained on the job or they will learn on the job. But in the process of learning, they are destroying some children's foundation because mathematics is like building houses. All these concepts that we'll learn, they fit in together. You need somebody who is a math expert. I'm not talking somebody who knows math. Okay, somebody who has studied math in school, because if you go into the colleges of education, we don't just study math. We now pick each topic and look at how to methods, approach that you can use to teach the topic to make students understand, because there's a difference between knowing and knowing how to teach it. Okay, so these are some of the ways by which.
Okay, so Mr. Agbaje, what are the possible ways to overcome the fear of mathematics?
Well, the schools have a lot to do. The parents have a lot to do. The teachers have a lot to do. I'll begin with the teachers. Okay, you're already teaching in the school. You know that you don't know because a lot of teachers just skip some parts of the curriculum. And that part that you're skipping is very important because it will fit perfectly. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Everything fits perfectly into one another. So once you skip one part, the whole thing is not complete. So teachers need to brush themselves up. And then they need to know that planning to teach mathematics goes beyond just writing the lesson plan. It's actually sitting down and thinking of concrete ways of helping children to understand the topic. Okay, so you must not teach in abstract. Mathematics, they say, is an abstract subject, but not at the primary or secondary school level, I must tell you. Mathematics does not become abstract until you get to the university. So for every topic in primary or secondary level, there is a model that you can use. There are instructional aids that you can use. But beyond just lumping all the instructional aids together, there is a way you can use this model meaningfully that will make learning interesting for the children. So teachers have to go via the use of models. And then there should be less emphasis on children outcome. You see, we should focus more on the process than the final result because mathematics is all about the process. Introduce a new topic, look at the real life application of it with the learners. Okay, if you're talking about simple interest, for instance, don't just go simple interest is principal times rate. I never use that formula. Okay, I just go, what is the meaning of principal and how people, I talk about investment. I talk about borrowing. I talk about banks when you want to teach simple interest for even little children. Then, when they begin to see how this thing relates to their everyday life, then you now bring in the problem, introduce the problem, discuss methods of solution with them. Don't tell them this is the way to do it. Ask them, how do you think we're going to resolve this problem? Then give them enough time to practice. Give them enough time. There are so many solutions because I know we are not having enough time. There are so many answers to the problem, but give them enough time to practice what you have taught them. Allow them to make mistakes, and that is very key. You must allow children to make mistakes in mathematics because without making mistakes, they will never ever get it right. I want to tell you about
So what are the roles of parents there?
Someone.
What are the roles of parents, Mr. Agbaje?
I'm sorry.
In getting
this
possible
I need
solutions,
to tell you this.
Do parents? Okay.
I'm coming. I need to tell you about someone. His name is Dr. Olaoluwa Alod. You can Google his name on the internet. He's the youngest PhD holder in Africa. He got his PhD in mathematics at the age of 24. He taught me while I was in the university. So I spoke to him while he was about to get his PhD. I asked him, How did you do it? How did you get to PhD level by the age of 24? And he said, oh, I said, you must be exceptionally brilliant. And he said, no, I wasn't brilliant when I was in secondary school. I was just an average student. In fact, I did not come first in my secondary school days. But when I was in secondary school, my math teacher has a way of teaching us. Every week, he will give us a problem. He will never tell us how to solve it. He will just give us the board. Go to the board and try to solve the problem. He will give us the problem and you go for 4 hours, and then he will come back. We will not be able to solve the problem. Then after 4 hours, he will solve the problem for us, and he will repeat the same thing the following week. And after some time, they could solve one problem in 4 hours, then two problems in 4 hours, then one problem per hour, then one problem in 30 minutes, and that's how he became so good, because he had enough time to work on his brain. Now back to that your question about how parents can help. There's so many ways parents can help, but the first thing is that you want to reduce the pressure on the children. Okay, it must not be
Okay.
about you must score 90. Relieve them of that pressure. It must not be about you have to score 90 in mathematics, you have to score 100. When I was in my school days, stop comparing yourself to the children, because you are not the same. Okay, so
Okay.
then, when they come home with
Okay.
assignments, parents should not teach their children assignments. If you teach them, you're not helping them. One major damage that parents do to children these days is that children come up with mathematics assignment, quantitative reasoning questions, which children are supposed to reason on their own, and then parents now, post it on social media platforms. Sit down, reason it out, and if they cannot reason it out, then they go back to class and because it's supposed to be their own reasoning, not their parents' reasoning. So you don't solve homework for children. And then you know that if you want your children to improve in mathematics, then one way or the other, you yourself, you have to have a positive attitude towards it. So you cannot escape it. You may think you have escaped it because you finished school, but now you have your children who are going to toe the same line that you have toed and are going to keep on having problems, except you develop some sort of enthusiasm towards it. So now you are old enough, the subjects, the math is still there, and you will see that your mature understanding will make it easier for you to understand these subjects now. So
Mm-hmm.
sit down with the
Oh,
kids, rather than say it can't be done. Work it out together with them, struggle with them, but let them know that you are trying and you want them to improve as well. Okay. And as for teachers, focus less on the outcome, focus more on the process. Just don't look at the final answer and say you're wrong. Check every step of the work, and you will be able to discover where exactly
hmm.
children
Yeah.
are getting it wrong.
Hmm.
Because usually there are mathematics
Yeah.
principles and there are mathematics
Hmm.
concepts. And you see those principles, every child must know it. Okay, the principles are the addition, the subtraction, multiplication, and division, and what to do at some steps in every equation. Concepts are easy, but if principles are not in place, principle is like the foundation. If the principles are not in place, there is no way you will build the maths concept. So focus less on the outcome and more on how children get there. Help them through the process and teach them not to be able to. It's not about passing at the end of the term and passing at the end of the year, but about using a tool having a tool rather that will be useful for them all through their lives. Okay, because like I always tell my students, mathematics is like giving you a tool. Okay, I'll give you a knife, I give you a cutlass, I give you a spade, and I tell you to go to the garden. If you see the grass and I have not taught you well, you will take a knife and start cutting grass. And if you want to harvest okra, you will take a shovel. But if I have taught you well, you will know that okay, knife will be used to harvest the okra, and I can use a shovel to make
Hmm.
mounds, and I can use cutlass to cut grass. So we are giving them tools. We should dissuade
Yeah.
rote learning. We must go away from that idea of this is the formula. Never tell them the formula.
So they should phantom it on their own.
Rather, help them to discover the formula. Okay,
Okay.
I never tell children this is the formula to anything.
Hmm.
Should yes, there are ways who believe they discover the formula. it themselves and they've been applying it. So for every single mathematical formula, there is a way you can guide children to see it. My children will always approach a problem with the common sense approach. That's what I tell them. With the common sense approach, on the job, and they will keep applying it. So
Yeah, correct. So, Mr. Agbaje, what advice do you have for teachers who are strict you know, as math teachers? Some of them will come to class with very long, fat canes, inflicting fear already in the learners. And this thing has been on and on for ages. Please, can you address that?
well, I think that those math teachers who make the mathematics class as rigid as that, bringing canes and keeping a straight face, they are compensating for something. They are not enthusiastic about the subject. They are not happy to teach it. Probably they've been
Mm,
forced to teach it. Okay. Mathematics on the surface of it has been seen as a difficult subject. You cannot come into class with a cane again to add more to the phobia on ground. If you really want to make children to understand the subject, you must never come to the class with a cane. The cane must never be in. The cane
mm,
and the math class they must be enemies. Okay, then you come with a smiling face, then you come with that enthusiasm in your voice, and the first thing you want to tell them is that you know what, this subject, the topic we have today is this, and it is very, very easy. That's the way you start. We have this topic, and it's very, very easy. If you're able to solve this topic, you're going to be able to solve this problem in life, and you bring real life problems
aha.
into the class. Bring problems of budgets, bring problems of revenue, bring problems of sharing formula, bring real life problems that children can see on TV, bring it into the class and give them a sense of achievement that, okay, when we solve this problem, if you bring application problem to the class and children solve, they get that sense of achievement like, oh, wow, I can do this, which means that I can be here tomorrow. They already know that if they find the LCM of this, find the LCM. What is the meaning of the LCM? Which is why I always advocate for meaningful learning. When you get the answer as it actually means. Okay, in physics, there is something we call specific heat capacity, for instance. And when children are given the specific heat capacity, they can use to calculate heat capacity of some materials. So I always tell children, when you are given the specific heat capacity, do you know what it actually means? They said no. Okay, you don't know and you're calculating. What it means is that if you have 1 meter or 1 centimeter of a material, this is the heat capacity. This is the amount of heat energy you need to expand it. Explain in layman terms for them to understand. And when they finally get an end result, you have to let them know that this result that you have gotten, this is what it means. That's how it becomes meaningful to them. Sometimes we can help them by giving them the endpoints. Because I discovered that there was a time I gave some children some work and I stepped out, and by the time I came back, they just opened to the back of the textbook. The answers are always there, and they copied it down for me. But I always check the process. I'm more interested in the process. So I saw the process, it was all wrong. It was all wrong. Somebody said, Uncle, they checked the back of the book. I didn't get angry. The answers are there. So from today, what we'll be doing is we'll tell you the exercise in your textbook. Go to the back and copy out all the answers. That's the answer. Now, it is that one will always get, if they know where they are going, they go through this process, because sometimes this is, some children learn better this way. They go through this process, they don't get to the answer, they go back. Okay, maybe this way made a mistake, and they go back again, they get to the answer. Okay, they have made mistake because you have allowed them to make mistake. You must allow them to make mistake. Next time, they will know where they have gone wrong and they will not make that kind of mistake. Okay.
Okay. So, on the last note, Mr. Agbaje, how early do you think we can start, um, you know, encouraging the interest of mathematics in our children? And what can you tell the learners basically about having that key interest for their own selves and not for anybody?
Okay. How early can we get children to start learning mathematics? Pick their interest in mathematics as early as they can start to read. as early as they can start to understand numbers. And what we can do to help them is by bringing in games. Okay, we make
Oh.
mathematics to be in form
Mm.
of games. You see, the
Oh.
principles of mathematics, like addition, multiplication, subtraction, they will become geniuses at it at that beginning if you bring in games or things that make them interested in doing it. And there are so many
I'm
games
thinking. Mm. Yeah.
online that children that they can play that will help them to hone their skills in mathematics. I always say that
Yeah, I
if you can
agree.
add numbers
Mm.
and you can multiply numbers, you're already a mathematics genius. If you can add numbers and subtract numbers, you will never have any problem with math. So games are very key. So as early as they are in their interest, we need to start their things. As for the learners
Okay.
themselves, well,
Mhm.
mathematics is the key to your swag. It's the key. They have this aura of self-confidence around them. They feel they can. It's true. They feel they can tackle any problem. They know that it's
Yeah.
just a matter of looking at that problem and thinking critically for 1 second and coming out with a solution, and they are the geniuses. So it's about your self-confidence, about your swag. And mathematics, like I said from the beginning, is very, very easy. It's actually the
Okay.
easiest subject you can think of because mathematics usually nobody will mark your handwriting, nobody will mark your paragraphing, nobody will mark your
Mm.
punctuation in mathematics. All they have to do is check your
The
process.
steps.
And then
Yeah.
with mathematics, there are always different paths. There are several paths to the end goal. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be one way. Yeah,
Yes.
there is this method of teaching multiplication
Yeah.
and division, long multiplication, long division. Oh, I hate those methods. I never use those methods. I use to do it multiplication in my class. So there is always a different way. There is always a different technique to that end goal. So all you have to do is yourself it's easy,
Mm.
and it's easy. All you have to do is find that alternative path
Mm.
and you will be a genius in no
Yeah.
time.
Okay. So there are several paths to meet your end goal, says Mr. Agbaje. Oh, thank you very much for joining us on the
For every
discussion
mathematical
today,
problem.
Mr. Agbaje. And to our students, as you have resumed school, aim for the very best. And to every other person out there, math is vital in our world today. Everyone uses mathematics in our day-to-day lives, and most of the time, the world will be able to appreciate my technical crew from the Eyes of Africa TV, and to our viewers, thank you very much. Join us next time for another interesting and informative discussion. Remember to stay safe. Bye for now.